What's up, Big Bear Nation? Welcome back to the homestead. So today we're going to show you something that we're doing a little bit different this year. In the past, when we've planted potatoes, we usually just throw the whole potato into the ground. We have tried to cut them and put them in the ground, but we've never really had any success with that. And that's because we were skipping a pretty big step. So today we wanted to show you what that step was and why it's important to do that. So one of the first questions that a lot of people always ask us is, where do you find seed potatoes? Nowadays on the internet, you can pretty much find them anywhere. But we choose to get ours locally at our feed and seed. I picked out a couple of different types of potatoes. And the first one is an early potato, that is the Yukon Gold. What makes them seed potatoes is they'll have these eyes on them that have these small kind of sprouts. Now, in the past, this potato, I would have probably cut it in half and tossed it, put it straight into the dirt. The reason you don't want to do that is because since the potato is moist on those edges, when you plant this, if the soil is not dry, if it's the slightest bit moist, your potatoes will rot in the ground, and then you won't get any potatoes. So what you do to prepare your potato, if you're going to cut it, is you're going to have to cut them into pieces, then let them sit out and heal over the next couple of days. In a situation where you have a small seed potato like this, I wouldn't waste your time cutting this one up because you're probably not going to get much out of this anyway. You've got that nice little sprout. So in that case, go ahead and just keep the potato whole. But when you have a big potato like this that has several sprouts, it makes more sense to cut it up, because if you try to let all of these sprouts grow out of this one potato, you're crowding the plant and you're not maximizing your sprouts, right? You have, on this potato alone, there's probably 10 or 12 potential plants here. So throwing it just in the ground as one, you're not going to get as many potatoes. So you can see the sprout on this side, and there's one over here, and there's a couple of eyes in between. So I'm just going to cut it in half, and then we're going to put it on the platter, and we'll leave these open so that in a couple of days they'll scab over and we'll be able to put them in the ground. Now with these bigger ones, like the one I showed you before, this one we can actually cut into 4 to 6 pieces, depending on how creative you get with your cuts. So with this one, I've kind of got several over here on the back side too. So we'll cut it in half, and then I'm going to probably cut it this way. There's a couple of eyes on this one, on that side, and then there's a couple on this side. And then on this side of the potato, probably going to cut it this way, because there's a couple of eyes on this side and then a couple over on this side. And that's really all there is to it. We're going to go ahead and put these over in the seed room, let them sit for a couple of days, plenty of time for us to be able to plant them this weekend. Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since we cut up the potatoes and put them into the tub here with dirt. And I came out here, I've been anxiously looking like the last 2 weeks, trying to see if we actually have plants that pop up out of the ground. And today, lo and behold, I found 2. So that makes me really hopeful that this method will be more successful than what we've done in the past. We've been growing or trying to grow potatoes pretty much since we started homesteading. Back at our old property, we actually backfilled an area with a very sandy, loamy soil, and we just put the whole potatoes in the ground, and we had an awesome harvest, which is why it really stunk when we got up here and we started trying to plant potatoes, and we were getting nothing. Like, we may get a little potato here or there, and that was very discouraging. At first we thought it might be the soil because there's a lot of rock that's mixed up in our soil here. But we also thought it was a possibility that it could be the seed potatoes we were getting, where we were getting them from. So this year we started with a different company that we used for our seed potatoes, and it was our local feed and seed. And the reason why we did that is because when we got garlic from them this year, we've had a tremendous, like, I think every single bulb that we planted has come up. So we went ahead and got seed potatoes from them, and so far it looks like we're at least gonna get some plants. Let's just see what happens with the actual potatoes. So make sure that you stick around, because we'll definitely be doing a follow-up video on how these guys do over the season. And then once we harvest them, we'll let you know what our feedback has been on this process. Now, I'm interested to know if any of you plant potatoes, what process do you use? Do you just throw the whole potato in? Do you cut them up and do like we did, where you scab them? Or maybe you cut them up and put them straight into the ground and you're successful. I'd like to know about that in the comments. Thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless and have a nice day.